Alright, so I was wrong about this crypto. This is NC Hammer Crypto. My name's Neil. We keep technical analysis short and sweet. Let's get into it. So I was wrong about Quant. I figured Quant was going to have a further decrease in price. It did only end up going to 108 before retracing back over the 200 EMA and holding now around 118. I got out around 115, somewhere around this area, right when it broke that 200 EMA. And keep in mind, this is on the 15-minute chart. It's not on the daily or the 4-hour. So it's very tight in and outs for me for this scalp trading on Quant. I did manage to get in a little bit lower right here, I believe around 112. So it was a $2 differential, $3 differential roughly. So gained very small amount of Quant, but keeping in mind that it is holding support off this black trend line right here. And looking at the 200 EMA on the 15-minute, it's holding support above that. We could see a 22% increase. The main line that we want to see Quant break is, I apologize again, using a computer or a laptop instead of my iPad is a little wonky. But we're at 118.39. If this can hold support, we could see it break this trend line and start pushing up at 22%. I believe it was more of a false a bear trap for this bullish increment, just specifically on Quant itself. We're looking at one touch, two, three. If we touch this a fourth time, it does have some stronger potential to break to the upside. However, the 200 EMA is here around 100. If it breaks this line, we could be pushing down around that 200 EMA. Usually I look for the 0.618, which would be this orange box, and right below this downward trend line, which we were trying to break before we saw that bullish momentum. Moving on to XCN. XCN doesn't look the best, obviously. But it is still forming within this downward wedge. It is above the 200 EMA on the daily, which is nice to see. You may see that push down a little bit before getting some support around this area and pushing back upwards into this wedge. We really got to see what Bitcoin is going to do. But you can see as we look at this trend line, this black one right here, when it broke that trend line, we had that decrease in price. That's why that is put there. And the wedge is here just to show more of the channel of where XCN is currently sitting at. Personally, I do want to see some support around here, but also I wouldn't mind seeing a decrease in price, as whenever you look down at the RSI, you can see that the RSI is being a little bit oversold, but it can do something like this, where it has that major push down and then retrace back to get the RSI back to a healthy market and push it back up to the 50 before ultimately taking off and moving up to the 0.04 cent mark. XRP still trying to form that inverse head and shoulders in the bigger play in 4 hours in the daily chart. You could say this right shoulder is a little bit lower, but this is where that false bear trap was put in. A little bit of market manipulation, whatever happened in the past couple of days. Same as you can see, the fake out 240 before a painful crash. This being the fake out, we could see potentially a little bit lower depending on what Bitcoin does, but I believe it's going to be pretty stable. Coming June 12th to June, pretty much all of June, is going to be some important news for XRP. Again, overall, I believe it is going to be pushing more towards November before we start seeing some more bullish movement. And with that being said, you can see Bitcoin is in this downward trend, these two orange lines. And when it broke this orange line right here, it had started that downward trend. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. This could be 5 touches to this trend line. And if that breaks, we could see a push up to around 108. We could even fib this. Again, this is 4 hours, so it's not the most accurate representation, but it's already almost back at the 0.618 retracement. And the actual 618 retracement would be over that downward orange trend line right here. So if we can break that and get a little bit of support off this black trend line, we can be pushing up to 108. However, if it does not break that, it still has this entire range of this channel to be pushing down to around the 97,000 mark, which would again bring the rest of the market to a lower, obviously, price. And the other one I wanted to bring up is Compound. We'll launch the chart. Compound being around $45, also having an increasing trend line. When you're looking at this, you could push it a little higher, but I like to keep it a little bit low, and I believe we may get a little support here. We're above the 200 EMA. We're at the 50% mark on the RSI. The only thing that's concerning is the volume is low, but when we revert back to XCN, I believe we could see divergence. No, it's quant. Quant's getting a little divergence. Volume is decreasing. If we draw a line on this volume from this bar down, you can see volume is decreasing and the price is increasing. So that would be divergence, which makes this potentially more bullish. Looking at quant, the price is increasing, the volume is decreasing on the 4-hour. It's at the 50% on the RSI. So this is potentially bullish. It already retraced to the 0.618, even a little lower, but we do want to see it hold this black trend line before looking to put money into Compound. However, the all-time high is very high. Compound pushing all the way up to, I believe, over 900, something like that. All these lines are previous data that I've been collecting. Yep, 915. 915 is his all-time high, and it's currently at $48. So the risk to reward ratio is very nice on that. I believe we can see a lot higher price for Compound. I believe that's all I want to go over today. I will be fixing my iPad myself here on the 12th or so. But that's it, and I will see you guys on the next one.